Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome back to Elite Dangerous. Whilst we wait for the arrival of the beta, the commanders for patch 2.3 that's due to arrive sometime this week, hopefully tomorrow, I'm out here meanwhile in the Sutekh System, about to get involved in one of the latest community goals. Now this community goal has two parts to it. The first has already been completed. It was a bounty hunting stage and that reached its maximum tier, paying out quite a good amount of money. The other part of the community goal is a salvage retrieval mission, and it seems that unfortunately very few people are getting involved in this. You can see it hasn't even unlocked its first tier yet, and this community goal is due to be completed for tomorrow. So that means it's likely there won't be any payout for that, but nonetheless I'm going to head on out and have a look and see just what we can find. Now there has been a bit of good news on the forums these past couple of days. Today, in fact, Frontier responded to the question about beige planets. Now, in case you're wondering what that's all about, what happened is with the arrival of patch 2.2, players soon began to notice that many of the planets within the game, those that are metal-based, as well as many of the rocky worlds, had changed from their previously various colours, there are all types of colours out there, to a rather singular beige type colour. Now of course this didn't affect all worlds, and you will have noticed from my previous post 2.2 videos that I've visited a good number of very nice looking planets indeed. However, it cannot be denied that there are now a huge number of beige worlds out there. So as I said, Frontier come to the forums and did respond to the questions about this. There was a response both from Michael Brooks, the executive producer, as well as Anthony Ross, one of the game's programmers. Now what they confirmed was that the planetary generation has indeed been changed, and this was to reflect a better scientific accuracy. In fact, the change was heavily focused on the planet's material properties. And so when this change went through, it meant that the planets effectively got totally changed. However, the beigification has been somewhat unintended. It seems that Frontier are still in the early stages of changing the planetary material makeups, and on their initial pass, they applied colours to those materials based on standard Earth coloration, commonly brown. And this is why many of the planets within the galaxy now have a singular surface colour of brown or various beiges. The good news is that this is not a permanent thing, and that Frontier will be bringing colour variation back to the game, not as a part of patch 2.3, but rather as a part of ongoing work that would allow the display and representation of other materials that occur under various different conditions within space. So yes, that does mean that we are going to see the return of planetary colour variation, and on top of that it's going to come back in an improved form. So I don't know about you, but personally I feel it's great that Frontier are updating the galaxy to better reflect scientific realism, but that all the brown planets are not an intended part of that process. Further to that, Frontier did discuss the changes to geometry and geology on the planets, and I'll get to that in just a moment. Let's first just have a bit of a talk about what's actually been going on here in the game. So I'm out here doing this community goal, picking up these salvage materials, and I've brought along a bunch of limpets. Now previously when I've done these sorts of missions, people have recommended to bring along those limpets because it does take a little bit longer to actually pick up all the pieces manually, and you do always have the chance of other people taking them first or ended up scanning you and shooting at you, so that makes it a bit quicker, giving you the chance to get in and get out. Unfortunately the limpets do expire, but a lot of that is down to the way I'm flying after I deploy them. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not at all worried about that. I've brought a few limpets along with me, only 10, but it's more than enough to get the data cores that I actually need. I've got no intention of picking up 50 or 60 data cores, 5 or 10 or so will be more than enough. And besides, at this point in the community goal, it seems very unlikely there's going to be any reward for this at all. It seems unlikely that tier 1 is going to be even reached. But that's not really a problem. I'm merely out here for the experience. At any rate, here I am heading back to the Archimedes station in Sutekh, and I'm going to hand in the few data cores that I've actually collected. So now's a good opportunity then to talk about the planets a bit further, and we can talk about the comment from Anthony Ross about the changes to planetary geometry. Now at one point many of the rocky worlds, the high metal content worlds especially, had some rather extreme and stunning features. And with the arrival of patch 2.2, those planetary features all but disappeared. Now it seems there's two separate reasons for this. The first is connected possibly to the materials that are used, the ones that make the planets brown. Michael Brooks says he suspects that that also has affected some of the planetary terrain. And that means then that when the planetary materials are updated, it should also bring back some of the planetary features again. The other part of the issue is that some of the more striking and unusual planetary features quite possibly shouldn't have been there to begin with, and some of these include some of the massive sawtooth-like ridges we used to see. Those have been removed because, one, they physically shouldn't have been in the game anyway, and secondly, they were causing problems with the game itself, causing people to clip through terrain, as well as causing client crashes or causing crashes back to the main menu. So it seems as that has been resolved, and the question at the moment is still open as to what is going to happen with the planetary terrain, but hopefully that's going to be a positive thing as well. It's really great to have this information from Frontier, because at least now we know where the changes to planets are heading. In the video description below, I will link to the forum thread with the responses from the developers, and it's also interesting to see there that there's some growing support for a live stream on Stellar Forge. That's the system which generates the entire galaxy. If that's something you're interested in, it might well be worthwhile going along and dropping a comment into that thread. So here you can see me arriving at an ancient ruins, and as I've mentioned before, these are now much easier to find. If you come out to any location within this region and you fly up to around about 1,000 light seconds away from any planet, if an ancient ruins are present, then they will appear in your left nav panel. You'll be able to see them and navigate to them directly. So on the one hand, this is a very, very good thing, because it means that these ruins are going to be that much easier to get to, and I know a lot of people have had trouble finding them. On the other hand though, it has removed some of the fun many people have been having from trying to locate these things. So Frontier have gone perhaps from one extreme of not being able to find them at all, to the other extreme of leading you directly to them. But a part of me feels that this is all part of the process for the arrival of patch 2.3, where the next chapter in this particular saga is no doubt going to continue. And that ultimately, perhaps before that can even happen, the whole discovery thing with these ruins needed to be got out of the way. That then brings us to an end of this video. I'll be back very soon with some more videos, and many of them of course will be on the beta. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and gals next time.